G'day! So, in this video here, we are looking at trigonometric ratios and just how to set them up and write them. So, we'll just go through this example here. So, using the given size, write trigonometric ratios in fraction forms for each of the following triangles. So, first off, whenever you get trigonometric ratios, just remember what we've got here. SOHCAHTOA. So, just remember, this here is sine, opposite and hypotenuse. So if you have the opposite and hypotenuse sides, you use sine. If you have the adjacent and hypotenuse, you use cos. And if you have the opposite and adjacent, you use tan. Okay? So this is how you can break it down and essentially make sure that you write the right ratio for each one, because if you don't, you'll get a different answer than you're supposed to. So it does matter which one you do use. Just trying to erase this, then we'll get into it. Okay, so we'll get started. This first one, what I like to do is actually label these. So first I label my opposite, my adjacent, and my hypotenuse, and I'll just do these on all of it. So opposite is directly opposite our angle, hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, okay, and then adjacent is next to the angle. Okay, so just do this for all of, especially when you're starting out, just so you don't get confused. Okay, and just make sure, you'll notice hypotenuse always opposite the right angle, and it's going to be the longest side. So make sure you are aware of that. Okay, now let's get into it. So we'll start off with A. So here we've got an angle and the known sides are on our opposite and adjacent. So we actually need to use tan. So tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. So just remember, if you do remember this here, they're in the order, so opposite's on top, then adjacent's on the bottom. Okay, so these are in order of what's on the top and what's on the bottom. So how we actually write this is we can write tan, and whatever the symbol for the angle is, so this is theta, which looks like that, is equal to our opposite side, so our opposite side was 6, and then over our adjacent side, which is 5. And that's all you need to do, okay? So when you're setting up these trigonometric ratios. Alright, there's more steps further on if we're trying to find the angle, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so B, here, we've got our angle here, and we've been given A and H. So we look in SOHCAHTOA, which one has AH? This is this one here. So the C stands for cosine. So we need to use cos. So the cos, or cosine, is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So we can write this as cosine theta just remember to always put your theta, so your angle there, is equal to our adjacent, which is 3, over our hypotenuse, which is 8. Okay, and then we're done. Now C, finally, we're looking at this, we've got our theta, and we've been given the opposite and the hypotenuse. So hopefully you would guess it, that we've got an example for sine here as well. So our sine theta is equal to, this is opposite over hypotenuse. So just remember, so we can write this as sine theta is equal, our opposite is 2, and our hypotenuse has a value of 3 as what's written there. Okay, and that's how it's set up like that. So with this, it's just about identifying your side length, so just make sure the first thing you do is write what one corresponds to the angle that you're looking at. If you have a couple of angles, you might want to do it in different colors, just so you can tell. Alright, so sometimes in questions they might have you find both angles. Okay, so you might get you set up to look at both angles, and they might use a different symbol, like alpha or something like that. But yeah, just make sure you set up what's your hypotenuse, adjacent, and opposite for that angle that you are looking at. So just make sure you do that, and then hopefully if you remember SOHCAHTOA or have that written down so you don't forget it, there's not much else you can do other than setting it up with your theta sign in it, okay? Just like these three here, okay? So hopefully this helps, and good luck with completing these.